Hi, this is a tiny impromptu video where I show you how I make the head of the Lestrade Funkos because I thought, it's funny progress. I'm quite proud of it, I would like to say, so that's why I thought, I'd show you how I'm doing this. Because, I am making 20 of them, so that's a lot of work, and I'm trying to get them all as close resembling as my original one. But I figured that if I have to sculpt all of these by hand, it's gonna take a long time before I finish all 20 of them. So I'm just gonna explain how I start off with it. No, he's not. He's gonna have to stand aside for a bit. So the original ones are the cigarette smoking man from the X-Files series. I've never seen the X-Files, so I have no idea what this guy is, but I saw him and I thought he is perfect. And so yeah, I decided to just have a go with it, and that's how this one came to be. I'm really proud of it, so I'm really glad more people are enthusiastic about it and want one as well. But for me it's important to work as fast as possible and to work as accurate as possible to get them all to look like the original, because that is what people have been buying initially. So so what you start with is, when you get your pop cigarette smoking man, is that you start with detaching the head. And how you do that is that you give these guys a bath. You might have seen the photos of all of them like huddled together in one of my saucepans in boiling water. Because what happens then is that the plastic gets soft and you can easily pull off the head. And lots of them came off, like just the head, and then this ring still attached to the neck. You just pull it off as well, because the ring is there to be attached to the body, and then you just glue these guys like that back on. So that's what the ring is, if you were wondering like what is that. So that's, it's easy for me because I can put my finger in it and I can hold them like this, instead of like grabbing the entire head and getting my fingerprints smudged all over it. So only thing I've done to this, the thing is, if you boil them, the plastic gets soft and it's easier for you to cut the things out that you want to be cut off. And what I've done with this one is that I cut like the back off, the back band, the tie, and the lapels of the coat. And I'm gonna sand this down a bit more, and there's like some details on that I want to get rid of there. And I'm gonna fill them up with epoxy. Epoxy is what I use for the hair as well, and sand them down even more. So like I said, I use epoxy. Epoxy is like a 2-component based clay, and I prefer it over normal clay because you can smooth it down with water, you can sand it, and that's why I prefer it over using female clay like lots of pop customizers use. Also, epoxy doesn't have any shrinkage. Like normally a clay has sort of like a shrinkage, which means that as it dries it shrinks down, and if you have like a too thick a layer, it can crack because on the inside they're still moist, and the moist needs to get out because it wants to dry up, and that's why clay cracks then. And with epoxy that hardly ever happens. I haven't had it happen to any of the things I made. And it does have like a 24 hours cure time, and it's best to work with within the first 2 hours. So like after 2 to 3 hours it gets like tougher and harder to work with. But I love it. I've been using it for some of my cosplay products as well. And this one is actually normal clay, because I had never worked with epoxy before, and I just thought I'd use like normal air drying clay, and it's fine. It looks fine, but I prefer epoxy because I just do. I don't have a reason for it, I just do. Now I have 2 tins of these, and one of them was already used by myself for like other stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough for all of them. I might have to order another set of them. They come like these in 2 of them because it's 2 components and you need both of them to work with it. So I might have to order another one, but that's fine. This is white. You can get them in all sorts of color, by the way, and I've only gone for white because I thought this looks great, but it's white. It turns to be white. It comes in different colors, but I've only used white so far because I thought white is just the best to work with, also because you can like draw on it if you need it. And well, I don't need to do that for this one, but I thought just in case I'll do that. So what you do is, because it's 2 components, you need to weigh it to get like 2 equal parts. So I'm gonna put the body away because I don't need that. I have a tiny little scale which I also use to like measure up resin and silicone. And I have roughly calculated I need about 20 grams for 1 head, and I have a bit left from the previous pops. I've already done 3 today. I hope to do like 4 or 5 a day in the next coming week. So these I have the heads done because I also need to do all the sanding and the painting. So I'm not even gonna weigh this bit. I'm just gonna turn this on. This is 8, 9, not 10. It's always nice if you like grab a bit and it's like exactly the amount that you need. 10. No, it's 11. No. 11, 10, 9. Burp. Burp. 10. I'm gonna take this one, and this one is a bit tougher. This one is really sticky. This one is really tough. 7, 9, 10. What? Too much. Quickly. 20. There we go. We'll grab this. You're gonna knead it together. You need to make sure it's kneaded properly, otherwise it's not mixed well enough. So what I do is like I make a little snake, and then I just fold it and I roll it. Fold it, roll it. Fold it, roll it. And as you can see, it starts to mix, but as long as you can still see these stripes in it, that way, it's not mixed properly yet. So I'm gonna continue doing that until it's entirely mixed in and it's one mass of stickiness, because it's a tiny bit sticky and greasy. It's also always hard to like wash off in the end. I always use dishwater soap. Excuse you, Bob. Shut up. So yeah, this is now one mess that way. And now it's ready to work with. And I think actually the thing says you need to let it sit for a bit, like a minute or so. 2 minutes. No, you don't need it for 2 minutes. Rest 5 minutes for better handling. That's because it's still really sticky at now, and I don't listen to that because, you know, I have more to do. So what I did to make sure that I would have like an exact copy of this is that I made a silicone mold, and this is kneading silicone. Like the epoxy, you take 2 equal parts, you knead it together, and then you can use it to make a copy of whatever you want to have copied. And as you can see, like, this is a negative mold of the hair, and it fits on it like this. It looks like a little shower cap, people have been saying, and it is cute. So this is what I use. Silicone is great because nothing sticks to it except silicone itself, and but it does have a sort of like a stickiness to it. So what you need is like something that releases the epoxy from your molds. That also goes for resin, by the way. What you can use is Vaseline, but what I prefer to use is talcum powder, because Vaseline sort of can leave prints behind. If you like rub it in, you can still see the Vaseline in it. If you use this and you just powder it in, you don't see it on the final product. Also because apparently Vaseline can react with resin or epoxy. I don't know, that's what I've been told. And talcum powder doesn't react. So I put a bit in, take a brush, and I brush it in to make sure that every little hair strand is powdered. A bit more there. And the excess I just... And it's fine if you get some talcum powder on this, nothing happens to it. It doesn't get dry or anything, at least not as far as I know. Maybe it does, I don't know. And then I'm gonna press this into here. And now the great thing is that if in the end when I pull this stuff out again and I don't like the way it looks, maybe it's a bit too stretched or not enough clay, then I can just knead it up again and put it back in. So it's not that for example, the talcum powder makes it unusable. You can like still knead it up and reuse it. And it's happened a few times that I pull one out and I thought, no, this is not okay. So I just press it back in and I just start again. So nothing goes to waste, which is really nice because, you know, it's always a waste if you end up with too much clay or resin, silicone. And you're always like, I wasted these precious materials. So I'm just gonna knead it in, and whatever I have excess, like I can already notice I used a bit too much, but that's fine. Always too much is better than not having enough. So what I do is like I press it to the side so I can cut it off later. I don't want to have too much epoxy in here because then the hair might stand up a bit too much. So I press it in properly and I pull it to the side as much as I can so I can cut it off. And right, so now I'm gonna pull it out, get him ready. I'm carefully pulling on the edges, because if you just pull it out like that, you get it damaged, and you don't want that because it stretches out. And yes, I will get my fingerprints on it, but I can smooth them out because it is epoxy. Here we go. And here we have a very crude copy of the original, and some of the details will have been a bit like smudged out, but I'm gonna use a sculpting tool to get them back. So I lay this here and I match this up as best as I can, and whatever details are gone I'm gonna sculpt back with a tool. And you might think that this looks a bit too much, but what you do is like you pull it back like I did when it was in the mold, and then you cut it off like so. So this is what you have access, and I can use that for the next one. Right. So this is nowhere near done yet. Like right now I don't like the way it looks, but I'm gonna use my little tool and some water, which I have here, to sculpt the details back onto it. So So yeah, this is why none of them is gonna look exactly the same as the original or like each other, because I am doing this by hand. Excuse me. And you know, I'm not a machine. I can't do everything like exactly like the other one. So all of them are gonna have little imperfections because they're handmade. And of course I do my best to get them to look as close to the original as possible. That's why I made the mold. But yeah, I can't guarantee that they all look exactly the same. But the thing is that's what I noticed when I was unpacking all of these guys, is that lots of them have irregularities as well. Like they look exactly the same, like the cast figure, but the paint jobs on some of them are really, really bad. Like a lot of them had like where the belt buckle was like really crudely painted on. And so yeah, mass production isn't always as accurate as you think it is. Okay. Now, what you can see is that there is a little bit hair here that's going to like peek out from underneath there, but I'm going to cut that off. Which I have also done with the original one. Yeah, there actually isn't much more to it than just sculpting it back into shape and adding some more detail, smoothing it out. And there are some fingerprints on it, so I just use my finger to smooth it out. Pull more of the epoxy back if there's too much and cut it off. I'm gonna sand this down anyway, so like the difference between like the original pop and the epoxy is minimal, and therefore I'll be using sandpaper or a tiny little. I have like really tiny precision files. Because that's the great thing about epoxy, is that you can sand it and it gets really, really smooth, like baby bottom smooth, and that's why I like epoxy. Oh, there's another cat hair. Kitty, your hairs are everywhere. Hey. Kitty hair, please. Slowly but surely, it's starting to look like something familiar. So yeah, I don't really have much to tell about this. I'm really not good at video editing, so I can't do like a speed thing of how I'm working on this, because yeah. So you're just gonna have to watch me do this. But things I can tell about this. I don't know. I like making them. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. I say that now, and I've only made like 6 heads. Maybe by the time I've done all of them, I'll be like, never again. But so far it's fine. And I might do the Molly's one as well, because I've got lots of positive responses to that one. And I might make one of Mary for Amanda, and I might make one for Una, Tiny Little Mrs. Hudson, because, you know, they deserve one as well. And, you know, I don't think it's fair that Sherlock gets like 6 of these, and then they skip out on some of our favorite minor characters. But I don't have any plans yet to make, like actively make the Mary one or the Mrs. Hudson one. I've been looking around for which pops I could use as a base. The one for Mary that I had in mind was Sharon Carter from Captain America, who looked, the hairstyle actually looked quite the same, and she looked like a badass. So I might use that one. I think she had like batons in her hands, and I could basically make it look like she's doing the thumbs up. So that would be adorable, I think. But yeah, I'm sort of hoping that Funko doesn't like go and make them too anyway, because that would just make me feel a bit like a burden, because people have been ordering these and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, there is an original one now. So yeah, sorry guys. Oh, hello kitty, my scream kitty. Hello. Hello. Let me sit. Hey, come sit. Come. Come. One. Up. It's a kitty. It's a cute kitty. It's a cute. Okay. Excuse you. That's my filly bell. So yeah, I think sculpting one head takes me like 15 minutes, but it's not as much as it would have been if I would have to do all of them by hand. And I would never have been able to get like the same, because when I worked on the original, I think I redid the hair like 5 times before I thought, yeah, this is good. And I also like experimented with different hairstyles. Tried to make it more a bit spiky, but that's so hard to do. I'm gonna smooth this out a bit more because I don't like how thick it is on the sides. Yeah, that's better. I'm just freehanding some of the details a bit. think I'm nearly done with this one. Just rub some water on it to get the fingerprints off. So yeah, there it is. I don't like the way this hair on the side is looking a bit. So really, on camera it looks a bit higher than it actually is. That's funny. Yeah. So that's how I do it. It's a tiny bit better. It's okay. So this is how I make one head, and I've done 6 now, so I've got 14 more to go. But I hope to do about 4 or 5 a day, so I might do one more before I give myself a break and do something else. Also got some epoxy left, so I might want to have to do something with that. So yeah, that's it basically. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked this, and I'll be back with another one where I tell about how I do these, even though these are a bit boring because it's just sanding and maybe a bit of sculpting. Sorry, that was the Coke. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.